Hey guys, today it is not obvious. We are obviously going to be looking at the G1 Fortress Maximus, and because this guy is so enormous and condensed, I apologize. You'll be seeing the sides of my desk. He's so big. I don't think, remembering back to the other Titans I have done, I don't think I've had such a struggle filming them like this guy. He's super tall, especially accounting for the guns up here, and then he's super deep because his feet are touching the wall back there, and then the ramps are still sticking off the edge of my desk. So this guy is absolutely enormous, even though he's not as long as Titans Return Fortress Maximus, but he's very dense, and that is one of the best words to describe this toy is dense. But yeah, this is gonna be a long one because I love this toy. I am very passionate about this toy. But we're gonna start at the lowest level. We're gonna start with his components. We're gonna start with cog or gasket and grommet. I don't know which one is which. We're going to look at Spike and then Cerebros. So we'll start with I don't know. I can't remember which one's which. Either gasket or grommet. But, clearly it's just the legs of Cog. But you can see these little molded in guns and then the stickers. And I did apply these stickers when I got him. I didn't buy him. This is the Encore version, to be specific. This is the Encore version. So as you can see, the stickers are wrinkled and peeling up. Obviously, that's probably due to me. Or the stickers took a dip in quality, but this is the Encore release. But to my knowledge, there's nothing different between this and the 86 versions of the toy, the 86 American and Japanese versions of the toy. I think the Encore has zero differences other than he comes with a sword. But here is gasket or grommet, whichever one. I'll just show you right now. When I was putting the stickers on, I put it on backwards because the thumb is right there. His thumb is right there, but the sticker is on the back side. So yeah, but once again, just a little car, but you can see it is Cog. The top half of Cog, then Spike is just almost like the other headmasters. Just very basic little guy, and obviously the head is on the back for Cerebros, but there he is. And obviously, I love this toy. This is the best mode, in my personal opinion. This is the best Titan class mode of the City Formers. Obviously, other toys like Cybertron, Metroplex, and the Arc and the Nemesis don't transform into cities. But for City Bots, this is still the reigning champion, in my personal opinion. They knocked it out of the park with this mode. So I will get these guys out of the way so we can look at it a bit more. So obviously, you see that we have this big central ramp, and we'll look at that a little bit later. We have this sort of runway right here, and then our big ramps right here. We have this big gun right here. You have his two handheld guns, and obviously you can rotate them like so if you want to have them like that. And I'm going to take this bit by bit. So this is the front. Looking at the front, you can see a little bit of the elevator in there and everything. So yeah, I will show off these ramps and the ramp that's inside here when we spin him around, and we might as well do that right now. And that is gonna be not a pain, but you can just see how big this guy is. So I did open up both sides of the of this. So I will take my cliff jumper. I need to lower it, and you'll see the crank later on. And if you know anything about Fortress Maximus, you will know that the crank is not in the greatest of spots, but this is one of the coolest gimmicks ever. You guys can see that. I absolutely love the elevator, so we'll put a little cliff jumper in. We will raise him up. Oops. Trying to get it. Raise him up. Like so. And now it is slowly tilt him. This red button that will shoot him out. So we'll just slowly and carefully rotate Fort Max back. And I can see him. I don't think you guys can because of the shadow, but Cliff Jumper should be coming out when I push this red button. And there he is. And I absolutely love that. It's so fun, so cool. I absolutely love that gimmick. So we'll just rotate him back, swing him back, and we will I'll show off these ramps. These ramps I like just because they're, you know, just quicker and easier to use. And you just take them and slide it, and it uses, you know, inertia to let him fly. So absolutely love that. Super, super fun. I love these ramps. Super ingenious. Very, you know, super, super fun, and they're very basic and simple. I really love that. I did not flip these down due to space, but this back here is just cargo hold, whatever you want to call it, just some steps into an open bay. You could make it like a med bay or whatever you want, obviously. Use your imagination. And I'm going to quick flip up these ramps right now, because we'll basically be done with them. We won't need them for the Maximus or ship mode. So we'll just put them back. And these are a little finicky, in my personal opinion, with the double jointed. Since they're double jointed, you just have to play with them just to get them to fold back up. But you can get it. It's not impossible. But just so we can work around the back a bit easier. This is where that crank is. Raise the camera up. Scoot it back. Raise the camera up just a tiny little bit. Obviously, these guns here can flip up. They can't go more than this, which is a little unfortunate. And I wish that there was a way that these could go around to the front, because it is cool to have armament all over the city mode. But I would have liked it to be more centralized with the rest of the stuff, but it's all right. And then you have this cockpit up here that Spike can sit into. But once again, I feel like this should have been facing forward with everything else, because you want to play with the front side, but you also want to play with the back side, and really, there's not too much back here to play with, in my personal opinion. And then these slots, you can put gasket and grommet like that just to store them. So now we'll rotate them again. And there is the other access side to the big elevator. And I'll need this little knife to open this up. And this is like a little jail. And this is where I store the radar, which I'll show back off when we make it back around to the front. But this is just a little jail with this cage or whatever. And, you know, it's really fun. Personally, I wish there was a bit bigger, more pronounced of a tab here. And especially on here. Well, I just got it, but I've always had trouble with that because these tabs don't really work, in my personal opinion, but it's all right. And obviously, as you can see, I'll bring it a little bit closer. This piece right here, this big bracket for this gun is die-cast. There are some die-cast pieces on this guy. I don't quite remember where exactly, but there are some. But we'll just rotate this back. And there is a little red port right up here that you can take this radar and put right there. And then there's a little red wheel that's right next to that port, and it can rotate. You know, just radar, do whatever, but we'll leave this off right now because we will need it later. And so yeah, and we'll just quick take Cerebros out right here, and he's basically transformed into robot mode, but just bent over. But we'll put him off to the side as well. But yeah, this is like I said, this is my favorite mode, and we'll go ahead and take these guns off because we will need it, because we will be going into Maximus mode, or battleship mode, whatever you want to call it, because whatever. This is fortress mode, fortress or city mode. We're going to go into Maximus or battleship mode. And then obviously the big guy, but so yeah, I absolutely love this mode. It is probably in my personal opinion, one of the best modes, I think, in G1. Other than the fists, Other than the fists up here and the feet, really, this guy covers up his robot kibble very, very well. Also, the fact that the robot basically wears the fact that it's a city, you know, it doesn't help, but it really this is an immersive city. This is an immersive base set. It's not like I don't own Triptychon or Scorponok, but like Metroplex, you can see what he turns into, that you know he's just a robot. This guy, you don't really tell he's a robot. And then obviously the newer Titans really don't change too much with their city modes. They're kind of lackluster. He has always been the best in my personal opinion, but by rights, he should always be the best because how much this toy cost back in 1987 and how much to produce in 1987. I can't even imagine what Hasbro and Takara spent to produce this toy and to engineer it. But it definitely shows that they put a lot of time and a lot of effort into this toy to make it amazing. And that's why I love it. So we will go into Maximus mode, or the battleship mode. So the arms are basically all done. We've already flipped up the ramps. We will need to flip this gun back in. So you pull out on it, and then you can swing it in and up, and then it'll just go right in. I'll just bring that off to the side. I apologize if this guy's a little dusty. I don't really take him down very much, so I apologize for that. We will flip this up, and then we will bring that piece up and that back down. So that's basically all done. I'm just going to close this up because I'll just transform Cerebros right after I get done with this. So you will bring this piece down, and this piece, dang it, have to pick him up. This piece up and around, like so. So now, other than this red segment of ramp, we're basically done up here. But right now comes the most difficult part of all of this. If you're going to get into a Fortress Maximus and buy one, I can't speak for Brave Maximus, the one from RID 2001, or Grand Maximus from Super God Master Force, two decos I really would like to own someday. The legs are very, very tight. The legs are very tight, or maybe it's just the Encore release. I don't know. The legs, these are the stiffest ratchets I have ever held, ever worked with. So we will bring this up, then bring that down. I'm gonna move them over here. Bring that down, and then we'll rotate, and then straighten it, like so, and close that up if it's come undone. So I'm going to quick do that leg off camera, but basically you bring it, you straighten it out, rotate it, and then fold it out to the side. So that's how you do it. This is the very basic toy, so it's not that complex, but I'll quick do that one off camera really quick, so I'll go do that. Okay, so here he is now. Got that leg all done. We'll just quick flip up these pieces, the access doors for the elevator, and we will flip down his feet like so. And then all that we need to do here is just take this red segment of ramp, flip it up, and do that. And now we have the Maximus. I'll flip him around. And obviously this will not be able to fit directly in line with us like the city did. Or you can leave this gun out if you want to. So we'll just do it because he needs a gun. So there it is. I'll scoot the camera back so we can look at these guns closer and better. But we can bring in our big guns again, and we can either leave them in city mode or we can rotate them forward. Dang it. There. So now we have that, and really, like, this is the front, obviously, because that's how the cockpit works, and that's why these guns ended up in the back of the city mode. But obviously we can populate the scene with Gasket and Grommet, put them right there and stuff. But this is really all the Maximus does, is it just has, because you can't really utilize the things that the city mode did. You really just get these guns up here, which are cool, but you can see that this is basically Fort Maximus lying on his back, really. But it is a cool mode, for how big it is, how heavy it is. It is very fun to play with, just like fly it around, because it's like the what's the Star Trek ship, the Enterprise, the Starship Enterprise. Like, this is kind of, not obviously it is far from that shape, but some big giant ship that has itty bitty little, like thousands, tens of thousands of crew members inside of it. This is even though it doesn't look very great, because like I said, it's Fort Max lying on his back, it still is a very, very cool thing just to pick up and just whoosh around. Granted, if you're strong enough, if you're a kid, but like I said, we will bring in and we'll just transform Cog really quick. And this is something I'll point out on him. There's not too many spots on Fort Max himself, but these little guys, they have developed some stress marks over time, like at the corner of, zoom this in so you can see a bit better. There are some stress marks that have developed on these holes, which is unfortunate. And I think I don't really know. I think there were some quality control issues that happened with the Encore release, which I would say, as long as you're careful and you're not just like ramming and jamming with the guys, it's going to be all right. But I'm not taking away from their plastic quality. They still are very good. I think just a few instances. But here's Cog, and I absolutely love Cog. Just love his design. Always loved it. Just super, super fun. So go ahead and put him off the side. And here is another instance of a stress mark, is this little tab right there. I feel like there's another one on him, but it's mainly this one, this tab that has to flex. So that's why I typically leave Cerebros in head mode, obviously, because I'm not going to display the body, the big Transtector body, in either mode. But still, that's why I'm really reluctant to transform him a lot. And I don't know if this is for every copy. Brave Maximus, Grand Maximus, the 87 Japanese and American releases of this toy, and every Encore release, I really don't know. But that is a little bit of a disappointment. But I always just keep an eye on it. Just take it very slowly when I transform it. But we don't need to do that right now. So we'll just straighten out his legs, fold out the arms, fold out the fists, like this. And same thing over here. Dang it. Same thing right there. And obviously, his stickers are also a little misaligned. Bring in his accessories. And then we can take Spike, fold him in half, flip up the faceplate, and we'll reveal the split strength, like so. And now, boom, which is absolutely awesome. And then we have his small sword and his gun. And there is Cerebros in his robot mode. And I really like him. Obviously, has that sort of like G1 tilted head effect that's way further back from his shoulders, but I don't really care. It's okay. He's just super fun and really cool. Obviously, he just has basic articulation. He does almost have more, because he can kick his legs and then he can move his arms. And I guess you could count that wrist, but not really. Obviously, nothing at the head, but I really like him. Really like this Cerebros. And obviously, this is the more Japanese colors rather than the American Rebirth colors. But still really like him. He's still really fun. So obviously, we're not worrying about those. We're going to worry about the Maximus right here. Like I said, everything back here is basically somewhat disabled, or not disabled, but you don't really use it. So I'll try to do this. We'll try. I think you know what? We're not gonna, I'll just fold up his arms so we can get some length back, some space back. So obviously you can see that this is the front, but now you can flip up his guns, and he is well and truly prepared to fight anyone in space. And this is really cool. I really like this. Obviously the Maximus isn't the best mode ever, but it's still really fun. I still do really like it, but it's not near as fun as the city mode, but it still is pretty cool and pretty fun. So well, that's really all there is to talk about with this mode, because kind of what you see is what you get, really. It's just the 6 guns up here, and really just the 6 guns up here, and that's really it. So yeah, let's just go ahead and put this bad boy into robot mode, into his enormous mode. So obviously we'll start with taking off the guns, and there's nothing else to take off now. I think the ramps can come off, but we're not gonna take them off. They can come separate. I think in the Encore release, if I remember correctly, this has been years ago, they come separately and you clip them on. They have like 2 of those like clips that clip in. I think. I may be wrong, but first thing is we'll just get, and we won't have to do a lot. We'll just flip up his feet really quick, like so, and we'll basically just stand him up. And obviously we'll have to raise the camera. So raise the camera up, and you can see how big this guy gets. So now we'll just raise the arms up, and we'll take this whole section and split it and bring it around and to close them up with a knife. Wait, no, because this is something I always forget, because you see these 2 little pegs, the peg there, peg there. This has to come down first because it will go into some holes, or it will align with it like so. So it doesn't directly hinder it, just, you know, just it locks everything together, and I really do like that. And for right now, we'll just put this gun away. Same thing, you pull out on the red section and swing it up into the blue housing, and then we'll put it right there. And just to show off now, here is, I'll zoom in so it can focus better. There is the stamp. Sorry, it's not focusing, but it says Tomy and made in China. So that's where the stamp is. And we can swing him back around now. And we will zoom back out. But we can scoot forward a little bit. And go up. And all we do here is just swivel the wrists and then bring the arms down. Same thing, swivel the wrists, bring the arms down. And when folding that ramp away, this plate didn't already fall in to cover up the elevator hole, it will. So there's that, and now we'll just zoom in and get everything regular. Like there. So now we'll just arrange the camera so we can see everything. But we will go back down really quick so we can put Cerebros into head mode. So, come back down here. And I will show off where I like to put the accessories. His accessories, because I don't like putting him in his box. I hate taking down his box. So, like we basically did before, is we're going to repeat what we did. Fold those back in, and then we will fold over the legs. And I always like to hold this just to not put too much stress on this joint here, because I feel like I've seen a couple that have broken at that hip joint. So just take it very slowly and carefully, like so, and they plug in. Sorry, it just plugs in. And now, like I said, I'm gonna be extra careful here. Like you could just hear it just like. But here's his face. Absolutely love his face. And that's it. Other than cog, but I always display cog separate. So once again, we'll raise right back up to his head, or where it will be, here in a quick second. And this is one thing I absolutely love about this guy, is because he can't rotate his head, it is not it's not at all difficult to put it in. I absolutely love that, and I apologize you can't see his eyes from the shadow. So yeah, I just super simple, you know, is that he is such a cool toy, such an amazing toy. But I need to go get the sword because I keep it stored away. So I'll go get his sword, and then we can arm him up for his final mega form. So I'll go get that really quick. And then we can show off I think one of the coolest parts of this toy. So I'll be back. Okay, so I got the sword, and bam, obviously amazing. But I've always fought with, and first of all, before I get way far into this, I apologize. I should have had this right next to me, but I didn't for some reason. Oh yeah, the big old sword that only belongs to him. We don't need to bring that when we're reviewing it. So I apologize for that. But I've always fought with this piece. You know, it can come off, I think, for the box when it was packaged. Fought with it bending and warping. So maybe it's, I don't know if it's the Encore one or maybe it's all versions, but I've always fought with mine. But one thing I just don't like is that there's two guns and there's one sword. Is that so he's either going to have two guns and there's nowhere to like plug them in because the ports on these, you know, the tower are hidden. So you can't plug one of them in to store them. You know, one of them is gonna like sit down at his leg or whatever. But you can hold both guns, but I'm not the biggest fan of this gun. It's cool, but that's all it is, just cool. So we're just going to put that one off the side, take this big gun, and we're going to put it in this hand. And now, before we put the sword in, just so he's less unwieldy, we're going to take this piece, and we can put it right here. It's a laser thingy. That's its technical name. But we can come up to his hand, and we can flip out a little turret. I'm not going to pull that out. Then we can come up to his forearm and open this up. And we have another little turret. And then we can do the same thing on this side. Wrist, another turret. Forearm, another turret. And then, obviously, I'll just pick him up really quick. We can flip out these guns for some more turrets. And I wish he was like the Titans Return one, that they could say, like, point upward and not just straight, if not at the ground. But it's alright. And we'll quick put this in his hand so he can have his big monolithic sword. But, of course, my favorite part, as much for how much stuff I love with this guy, like the sword, the guns, everything, does not compare to the best part of this entire toy, and that is his big old waist guns. Just super cool, super fun, and that is what this toy is. This toy is the definition of fun. There's a reason why you can't really spell fun without Fortress Max. Wait, there's no U. Dang it. Whatever. We can substitute the O in Fort for an O. We can turn an O into a U. But I absolutely love this guy, especially in his armored up configuration. You can't see his shin guns, but you can see everything else. I absolutely love this toy. This is the other die-cast metal piece, this big plate right here. And this guy, the reason why I love him so much is that, number one, he's a grail. Grailed a ton of people. I understand why he's a grail. He's just the coolest thing ever. Before I get too far in, you can take his accessories, Cerebros' accessories, and I always put them in here, in those slots right there. but they probably won't go. Yeah. Since he's standing up at the opposite way I'm trying to put him in, they're not going to go in. But that's where I always keep them. So if you have trouble with that, you can keep him in either that one or that one. That's what I do. But back to him, is that I understand why people want this guy, see him as a Grail, or any of his mold mates, or any iteration of him. He's just super cool, super fun, incredible to look at. He's not the tallest anymore, obviously. He's far from the tallest. Well, maybe not far from the tallest, but he's the heaviest. He's the coolest. This is a toy, to me, is beholden to nothing. The fact that he has so many gimmicks, he's so tall, he's so heavy, like, he probably weighs the weight of, like, 2 of a modern Titan. He's so heavy. I can't describe how dense and heavy this guy is. Like, Unicron, like HasLab Unicron. He's big, he's impressive, and everything, but he still is beholden to his budget, to his engineering, almost to his size. But he isn't. Obviously, his articulation's limited, but you can fix that because really, don't need anything. You need an outward shoulder and you need knees. That's really all you need for this guy, and a head swivel, but really that's all you need for this guy. He's already perfected everything. Like I said, his city mode is just incredible. It's the best city mode in the franchise, and if someone wants to fight me about that, they sure can. It's the best city mode ever, or base mode, whatever you want to say. Really the only one, no. Even Omega Supreme, my boy, can't even compete with that city mode, but this toy is beholden to nothing. You can tell that this toy was meant to be a statement piece, just like the USS Flag or the Thundercats base thing, whatever, is that this toy clearly no one could afford, and even now it's a very expensive toy. It's a super expensive toy nowadays as well, but it's beholden to nothing. It's an absolute spectacle of toy in general. Like, this is the pinnacle of awesomeness, and that's why I feel so passionate about this toy, because I love all the toys in my collection, but I don't feel like I want to shake someone and tell them how good a toy is. But this guy is just, you could probably just hear it in my voice, like the joy that radiates from this toy. Radiates from it, and it's just incredible. I'm just flipping those guns down because they don't really do anything, you can't see them, but he just radiates awesomeness and coolness and just everything. This toy is the toy. I think, it's not the size of the USS Flag, but that's probably its best characteristic, is that it's not the size of Unicron, it's not the size of the USS Flag to where it's beholding and like sucks up your life and takes up a massive amount of space. Obviously not taking anything away. This guy is huge. Just looking at it compared to my hand, this guy is massive. But because he's 19 inches tall and, 10 inches wide, he may be heavy. The only thing that's going to really affect anything is what you put him on. Like, I'd never put him on one of my glass shelves because he would probably break it. But nevertheless, is that he is still within the requirements that everyone can own him, that everyone doesn't, need a super big, like, basement for their collection to have him, is that he is still fairly obtainable. He maybe not in price, but size and things like that, he still is obtainable. And that's what I like about him, is that he has no bound and no limits to him, except for his price. That's really the only thing that limits people from owning this guy, is that he is the size of the Ark. Really, he takes up the same space as the Ark, maybe not depth, because he is fairly thick. Like, look at that cross section, that side view, I should say, is that he is very, very deep. But other than that, he's basically the same size, minus the sword, as the Kingdom Ark. So really, he doesn't take up a whole lot of space, but it's just the price thing that sets this guy apart, is that he's very, very, very expensive. But still, it's just, I love having this guy in my collection, and I've wanted to make this video for a long time. I've wanted to make a video for him for a long time. And obviously, episode or video 300 I think is one of the most fitting ways to give him that that video. So obviously this is coming up on Monday because his video came up, the 300th video came up on a shorts week. So this video will be up on Monday, as you guys have already surmised, and then Wednesday and Friday will still be shorts, but this guy, he's going up on Wednesday. But just I love this toy. I would really recommend you guys getting one. Any version of the mold, obviously, that you're going to pay a premium and hefty price for them, especially Brave Maximus and Grand Maximus. But in my personal opinion, you can't go wrong with either of them because each version of this mold has an amazing deco. Personally, my favorite is Grand Maximus. Someday I would love to own one, but until then, my Fort Max will be completely fine. Of course, if you didn't see, I do own the Perfect Effects Warden, so I have everything for this guy. I have Fort Max, I have his upgrade kit. Yeah, just, it's incredible. I absolutely love this guy. And he's not the centerpiece because I have a lot of Titans, and then I have some of my Brave toys next to him, but definitely I somewhat always gravitate towards him because he's just one of my favorite toys in my collection. Maybe not the best, maybe not the one that I'd always take with me, but if he's not in the top 10, he's definitely in the 11th place of things I would bring with me if I had to get rid of my collection. He's definitely at number 11. But someday I think I might do that. Make a list of what toys I would bring with me or what toys I would keep if I had to get rid of the rest of it. But he would definitely be on the list or very, very close to it. Yeah, I just have, like I said, a supreme love for this toy. I'll admit he's not great. He's not perfect. But dang, is he really close, and does he do a whole lot of things right. Just love this toy. Absolutely love it. And if you can get your hands on one to either play with, to mess with, or to own, I highly, highly, highly recommend doing it because it is so fun, so cool, and in my personal opinion, you won't regret it because it's an incredible, incredible toy, and that's really all I have to say. So, till next time, see ya.